meeting to order. I want to welcome everybody. We'll start out with a prayer from Steve Ayers from Lifeline Neck Church.
Let's pray. Lord, again, I thank you for our very existence. I thank you that you love us and care for us, and we thank you for this season, the birth of your Son, and the plan of salvation that you give. And Lord, I pray that each member here and throughout the village, you give wisdom and guidance, and Lord, we'll give you all the praise and all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you for your year's worth of
prayer.
speaking.
Okay, roll call.
Barth.
Here.
Bassett.
Here.
Beverly.
Here.
Klepper.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Ridgway.
Present.
Have before you the approval of the December 6th regular council meeting minutes. Any additions or corrections?
Troy, were you here last time?
I was not here last time.
Oops.
I was here in spirit.
Okay, any other corrections?
Motion to approve.
Second,
A second.
roll call.
Beverly.
Yes.
Bassett.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Klepper.
Yes.
Yeah, before you the bills. Any comments, questions, concerns?
2 NAS units, Aaron Enterprises.
Oh, you're from PD.
4,400.
It's for the cameras in the cars.
Oh.
It's where it can be stored rather than on the server because it takes up too much. All the video takes a lot.
Exhaust fan and compressor for wastewater treatment.
That exhaust fan was in the blower building. I think I had in a report maybe a month or so ago. We had an exhaust fan that was burned up. We found it because the breaker, the disconnect for it was shut off. And that was the price for a new motor and for Darren Brown to install that. The air compressor is for an 80-gallon compressor at the water treatment plant and install. That was actually Darren Brown and then Phil Scheipel to plumb it all in.
Any other questions?
We've spent a fair amount of money at the well field so far. Where are we at? How far away are we from doing anything there?
Well, we're hoping beginning of January.
Then we might go to work? Cool.
Okay.
Same thing also with Choice One and the Defiance lift. Are we getting final, and they've been working on that for some time with plans?
I personally haven't, other than seeing pay requests come in for designing and administrative fees, I haven't been out there for, I've been to the lift station, but I have not really had any discussions with Choice One.
That's something we can maybe take a look at here first of the year and see where there should be. They've done a lot of studies and spent some money out there. We have spent some money, so.
Yeah.
Speaking of that parcel, have we spent that money yet?
Which parcel?
The lift station?
That's all done. The one we bought, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's done. The mayor did.
Yeah, I signed.
Probably been a month or so ago.
Defiance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in the paper,
Yeah.
transfer.
The ESO Solutions Fire EMS report, is that a yearly fee or?
That's an annual fee
Okay.
for reporting software.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Nobody has anything? Pay the bills.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Klepper.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Barth.
Abstain.
Bassett.
Yes.
Beverly.
Yes.
Okay, boards and commissions, I don't think anybody met, didn't get any minutes, so unless somebody wants to add to that. Okay. council committee reports. I see the personnel met twice on the 6th and the 14th. Is that you, Eric?
Yep,
or-
yep, we had an
okay.
opening, and we still do have an opening for sewer superintendent, and we were, first time around, we had the candidate in, we interviewed, we also wanted to see what we could offer the individual. He also wanted to come on site and kind of check out the water, or the wastewater plant also, and so first meeting was kind of along that end, and then we also, Cheryl had some topics for us to come up with at the next personnel, not in a hurry, but we need to come up with a new job description for head groundskeeper. And we asked about COVID payments for 2022. The committee voted 3-0 to end the COVID payments, and individuals that need to use their sick or vacation time, we actually had to extend that longer this past year than what we had to. We also discussed the income tax person, moving them up to the senior position, and April Allen's pay for mayor's court, help with the street department, her pay scale, and zoning inspector administrative assistant position, which personnel still needs to discuss. Then also, Cheryl wanted us to look at some updated salaries for some certain positions, and I'm still waiting on that list of individuals to look at. And then the second one was to discuss the individual that did the tour, and we really liked the individual, very qualified, but he had a lot of demands, and it was for a lot more money than what we could offer him, more vacation, more sick time, and so after we talked and let him know what we could offer, the committee voted 3-0 to not give into the demands, and we're gonna repost the job opening.
Eric, do you think he'll come back with a counter offer, or do you think it was a firm, no, I'm done?
It was pretty firm. Yeah.
Okay.
And the email response after we offered said the most we can go is, we give him a dollar amount, and he says, thanks, but no thanks, yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Been busy, thank you.
Yep.
Committee, any questions for the personnel committee? Okay. Any other committee reports?
Police, fire, and EMS just met and had some questions for Fire Chief Kramer, and we talked about an issue out on Cicero Road where the fire and the problems that they had with that. And the chief was not there, but he explained the problems they were having with the pump, correct? And you found that it was a problem with the solenoid on the pump. It was intermittent, if I'm correct on that. And you said you replaced that, and it should be working now, because you said you used it Saturday, then the next day it didn't work, so there's definitely a problem with that. So then he's coming up with some training for the firefighters beginning of next year, correct? I think Mike has the paper there. And then another question was back for the staffing of the fire department, losing some firefighters. And I called them, and 80% was business, and 20% of the reason leaving was personal. And we're kind of concerned about losing firefighters, not getting any. They're down to 18 firefighters now. And you say it's 31, usually the number we do have. So trying to figure out ways where we can recruit new firefighters along with the EMS, and I think we'll have a topic on that later on the levy. So hopefully things will get straightened out.
Larry, when you spoke with a few of the guys that have left, was there any hope that any of them would come back?
I think he said one is coming back, right? Thinking about it? I'm working on one to come back.
I don't know the same one I know, but one of them's interested in coming back.
Yes.
And you're not requiring more than 36 hours coming forward.
The recruits would only have to have a 36-hour class.
And before it was more, so I think that will help. Okay. So we got some goals, that's good. We know there's some
Work out.
problems. Hopefully get them addressed. Okay, any questions for Larry and the committee?
Thank you, Larry, and thank you for your past 4 years of participation. You've done a fine job. Got a good head on your shoulders. I wish you would have stayed, but
Oh, you should say this at the end.
we were just talking about it, so I thought, what?
I didn't set my DVR up, and I should have recorded it.
Well, I can come down to the house and tell you to all that again.
Well, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for that committee? Okay, thanks, committee. Administrators report.
Last Wednesday, Proudfoot Associates came to town for a walkthrough to look into our phase 2 of our long-term control plan to see, to kind of get a visual on seeing where our flows are at for the northeast neighborhood, which would be like Maple Lane, compared to potentially doing Arthur Street, Shaw Terrace. We did observe quite a bit of flow coming out of Maple Lane because there is some field tiles that do run into our sanitary. So they are right now working on a letter to send back to the EPA that we have been working on with them. That project originally was scheduled for July 1st of 2022 to start, and we're hoping to get it pushed back to 2023. As Eric had mentioned, for the wastewater superintendent, it is reposted on a few different websites. There is a gentleman coming on this Thursday to take a walkthrough. He is out of Elida. He is a Class 3 operator as well. He's going to come take a walkthrough of the plant. Spent a little bit of money on the Defiance Avenue lift station. So far, everything seems to be up and running. And the Park Pavilion will be getting a little bit of TLC starting tomorrow with the new door. That'll be handicap push button operated. The roof is going to be repaired Tuesday as well. Stark's Heating and Cooling will be in town on Thursday to finally install the I-Wave air purification systems. That's pretty much all I have, unless anybody has any questions on this stuff.
Question on with Proudfoot, construction scheduled for July 1st, 2022. We don't even have project descriptions on that yet.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah, because
So-
we're not sure which way we're gonna go.
We had this,
Yeah, we do. It's in our long-term
Control
control
plan.
plan.
Right.
There's that pond
Right, but we're,
behind Elm.
But nothing's designed, correct? So we still have to so for construction to start July 1st, that's pretty much
We don't wanna put a
impossible.
pond there.
What's that?
We don't want to put a pond there.
Correct,
We're trying
but
to-
by the time we actually go out to bid, or basically we put the RFQ or RFP out for engineers, design, and then go out to bid, that July 1st date, we can't hit.
Well,
Right.
that's what we're going to do.
Correct.
Is addendum to trade it for a different project and push it back a year.
and we've done this before with the EPA and a long-term control plan, as long as we keep moving forward on projects, and we've changed projects, but not just like, if we stop them, then they're gonna be a little bit more, no, you're not stopping them, but we've changed some of the positioning of the projects, and then the Defiance lift has been increased down.
Changed a lot of them.
Yeah. So, they've been pretty
So we're hoping to push back any construction. We're not trying to swap anything for middle of next year.
but we are looking at potentially doing Maple Lane, but yes, no, we're not stopping anything. We're looking at, moving some stuff around.
Because we don't have any money set aside for the Northeast Quadrant for next year, I don't believe, do we?
No, I think we could absorb that, I think we could pay cash for it, but yes, that's why we are hoping to, one of the reasons why we would push it back to 2023. Because we're looking at trying to move the Defiance Avenue lift station up. That was originally scheduled for January 1st of 2026 to either 2024 or 2025.
So we're hoping that Defiance Avenue is going to take the place of these.
Well, we can't forget, or I haven't heard mentioned, there's a water tower to be inserted in there someplace in that mix.
Next year.
Correct, yeah, I'm
Next
just thinking
year.
long-term, with the long-term control plan, basically, if we've got to satisfy that, we have really no money set aside for the Northeast Quadrant or a swapped project next year.
Right, but Corey's words were, we could fund it cash if we had to. Like I say, I didn't hear anything about a water tower, and that can't be forgotten.
That's got nothing to do with sewer.
That's right, that's why.
It does if you spend all your money on something else. That's what I'm saying.
No, there's money in the budget for. the
Okay, that's the
tower.
first time I ever heard
Well,
anybody in this room say there's money in the budget.
Yep, the money's sitting there. It's just like in the bills when you'd asked about about the well field, like all that money is sitting there aside
Mhm.
to pay for that. Yes,
Mhm.
every meeting, there's a chunk of money that goes out, but all that money is sitting there and earmarked for all that.
Solicitor, can we legally have the farmer take his field out of our city sewer? He was given permission by a past administrator to put it in.
I guess we'd have to look at like what the cost and the expense and everything like that is. I mean, it's not, doesn't help us, I guess, if somebody gave him permission to do it to start with. So it's not like he's just doing it on his own.
He asked Bob,
I figured that's who you're talking about.
and Bob said, yeah, go ahead. But he is the one that's dumping 160 acres of drainage on us.
Yeah, I could look into it a little bit more.
No?
Yeah. Well, no, I just, I don't want to speak, but I had found a document a little while back where the city gave him permission in exchange for an easement for that water line from Green Lawn across the park or.
Oh, that's not good.
Makes
So
it
I
tougher.
don't think we can-
That answered that question.
I just found it about a week or so ago.
Quit looking. Quit looking for things like that.
Or maybe we could talk to him and see
That might be the approach better.
if we can't just work something out with him.
Yeah.
But yeah, what he put into us behind that cul-de-sac,
No, I'm sure.
it's 160 acres that drain in there according to village maps
And maybe, well, here again, I don't want to do all the talk.
speak up.
You might want to have water sewer committee to discuss it more. Let's just say the farmer would volunteer or we pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
What's our plan B?
What we're gonna do with his water or what?
No, what are we gonna do with the EPA?
Tell him we got her fixed?
No, they're saying that pond, they're keeping us, we had a Zoom meeting, we can explain better. They're holding us that July 1st deadline for that pond. That's why we're hoping to get this addendum approved before then, saying we'll do Maple Lane Drive instead of the pond.
Where's the pond go? In Keller's property?
Behind the trailer park.
Yeah.
Goes for
That's
down the
where
road.
MHT drew it up. So we're bound to that. So even if the farmer would pull that out, it would help us in general, but then we're stuck with what are we gonna do?
Well, then we can, at least we can mow the pond because it'll never have water in it. We can mow it, keep it mowed.
We're gonna have a big expense putting a pond in for no reason,
We also have to buy the property.
and I don't think it's gonna be for sale.
We don't have any property.
You can still buy it at premium.
It might not hurt to have a committee meeting fairly soon, much as I hate to run you guys around.
Okay, because
Oh,
we're
We can fill
getting
you
a
in
new
more
chairman,
on
so
what
after the
Well, we
first of
talked
the year.
about this a while back, about changing that scope and the timing of everything and re-diverting the water out of Maple Lane to a creek and doing different things, so.
They've got issues with that whole concept too.
Okay, but this is the first we've heard of, we knew the engineer was looking at the site and everything, but we haven't really heard back from what their thoughts were until here recently.
We were looking at Shaw Terrace, Arthur. EPA responded with a list of questions. Engineer kind of shrugged their feet. Then we had the meeting, and we had a Zoom meeting with EPA last week. And you guys aren't aware of any of that, so
Right.
it'd
No.
be simpler to tell you folks than everybody can be here all night.
Cool.
Okay, the committee can look at that after the first of the year. Any other questions for Corey?
I've got a question for Corey. When you said you've got a guy coming in this week for wastewater treatment plant, and the other guy that you've already talked to, are we telling them up front before they come here about what they're gonna make? So that we're not wasting their time and ours?
I ballparked it. I mean, I kind of give them a range.
Because that would be, I mean, that would upset me if I spent a week or two coming down here, looking things over, and all of a sudden you go, give you $7 an hour.
Okay, any other questions for Corey?
Kind of for those administrators, but kind of for you too, Mayor. He emailed me last week wanting to promote somebody within his department. Didn't know if you want personnel to talk about that or if you want him to bring that up for a recommendation.
That's up to him. Corey?
Sure, I mean, if I can do it now, on our street department, I would like to recommend a promotion for Alan Schooley to become our new street foreman. Because currently we do not have a foreman.
Haven't
Yeah.
had for quite some time, have we?
Now it's been probably 5 months, 4 months or so.
Oh, that's all?
I'll make that recommendation that we promote Alan Schooley, street superintendent. That's his title, right?
Street foreman.
Street foreman,
I
okay.
would second the mayor's recommendation. Alan does us a good job.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes, ma'am.
Bassett,
Yes.
Barth,
Yes.
Klepper,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions for the administrator? Thanks, Corey. Troy, solicitor's report?
Yep. First thing I have, we'll do the reading, and then if there obviously might need to be some discussion. Resolution 2021-26, a first reading by caption only, a resolution declaring the necessity for the renewal of a tax levy for fire protection in the village of Hicksville in excess of the 10 mil limitation, and requesting the county auditor to certify to the council the total current tax valuation of the village and declaring an emergency.
Okay, we'll have some discussion on that, what your wishes are. The committee talked about that, right?
Right.
So,
And I could bring it up. Staffing the EMS, EMTs and EMS right now, we're kind of limited on our full-time staff. I think we need to hire some more additional full-time staffing for our EMS services to cover our area and to cover the outside parameters of our townships that we're licensed to do or contracted to do. These guys that we have on staff are running pretty regularly and often. When they're not on call or working full-time, you know, it's kind of up to them on occasion to cover those extra hours. Basically, right now, we have 4 full-time. We have 3 part-timers or volunteers covering the staff. 3 of them kind of live local of the full-time. 1 lives out of town, so they come in, do their hours, and then they head home. On occasion, these local EMTs, you know, cover these extra hours. The 2, and I talked to Cheryl, and I just thought about this over the weekend when I saw the renewal coming up. To get additional money to hire more EMTs, you know, we're gonna have to look at a higher level levy millage to cover those costs. You know, to get this done now with this 2 mil, to bring it to the primary, we gotta decide on that now. It's a renewal. Now, if we wanna add any more money to that, and Cheryl had crunched some numbers prior to me talking to her, but we were looking at least maybe a 5 mil total, and it wouldn't be a renewal, it'd be a new levy for fire EMS. So I wanted to bring that to, we had a discussion, I talked to Scott, and talked about it tonight in committee. I don't know what your thoughts are, I know, but, you know, this is a big problem. I mean, a lot of towns are dealing with the same situation of less staffing and trying to run a full-time department to cover, you know, health needs and EMS coverage and everything from the county, so, or our town. But I wanted to bring it to the table of what your guys' thoughts were, and adding that extra millage, you do it now, do it later, don't do it at all, but, you know, we're running who we have pretty hard, and we got some people that have been on staff a long time, maybe looking at retirement. We have one young lady that's, you know, she's going to school to be an RN. I think when she fulfills that, I can't speak for her specifically, but, you know, she might want to do that here once she graduates, if that's what she's going to college for, you know, kind of thing. But we appreciate all the extra hours that they're putting in, and Scott and Drew and Bruce out there covering some extra hours, but these 4 that we have on staff cover a lot of the extra time. And when they can't cover, we have to call an outside department and have to do our coverage, which has happened. You know, we need to help the people that are needing help at that point in time, or make those phone calls, so. I don't know if Cheryl wants to throw some numbers at us, what these millages currently do for us now, revenue-wise, and what an additional higher amount would do.
Currently, we bring in 90,000 a year, and if you do a renewal, that's what you're gonna get. And if you do,
What's that gonna do to, how much will that increase a $200,000 home? The tax?
from what they pay right now,
Mhm.
nothing. They already pay it.
On that one.
On-
She's
on
saying
the
on the
renewal.
renewal.
The 5%.
The 5%.
Oh, the 5?
The 5 mil.
That's the 50 cents, and it's 225,000 is what we would have brought in. But we don't have the 5, we only
How
have
much
the
will
2.
the taxes go up on the home?
30 cents
30
for every
cents.
dollar evaluation. Or for every $100. $100. Every 30 cents for every 100,000.
$30.
That'd be the new,
100,000.
currently it's 20 cents.
It's 20, it'll go up 30 to 50 cents. Yeah.
So we go up to 50 per 100,000.
Yes, 20 cents
$50.
per $100, 20 cents, or 50 cents. Right now, everybody pays 20 because it's already up and running if we renew it. If you want to increase it, you can do it, it'll be a new one. And instead of 225, it'll go up to 279 because the valuation of the property's gone up a little, not a lot.
So this is just to pay for additional EMTs?
Well, it's for all their,
Fire.
And fire too.
It goes into the
That's
budget.
what he's thinking.
Well, that shouldn't, we shouldn't be, our people, we've got half the people that we normally do, so that's, just we're saving money there. Trucks and everything, I don't know, man, it just seems like every time something pops up, we just throw money at it, and I'm not into that.
Well, and so the record's clear, if you went to, like, if you said, yeah, let's go for the 5 mils, that wouldn't be a renewal. So the benefit besides the extra 3 mils, like Cheryl said, is if you renew it, they base it on the valuation of the real estate as it was when it was originally passed 5 years ago. That's why it always stays the same, that $90,000 a year. If you do a new one, they'll base it on today's valuation, which has gone up a little bit. So that's the downside is if you do it as a new 5 and it doesn't pass, you don't get the 2, that's already been sitting out there. I mean, you kind of put all your eggs in one basket there, so.
And when do we have to have this decided?
it has to go through a 3-step process, so you have to tell me tonight which way you want to go. I have to have it by, hey, I'm not taking the blame for this, Scott. I have to have it done by the first week of February, the whole process.
Can we do it via emergency?
Yeah, if you want to.
We could.
That's why this is already scheduled as an emergency, but if you don't want to do that, then obviously you don't vote on this tonight and want the other one,
We
then
need a lot more facts and
we'd
figures.
have to have an emergency meeting, do something similar to this, only it would be the language for a new levy at 5
Right.
mils for 5 years. I mean, it would just be a little different. Then what the process is once, whatever one whether it's this one or the other one, then the auditor has to certify what the valuation is and how much money a levy of that size would generate for the village. That takes a little bit of time. Get that sent back to Cheryl, and then once that's back to Cheryl, then we could pass an ordinance saying, yeah, go ahead and put it on the ballot.
This is a terrible time to do this. Homes are bringing stupid prices. This is the worst time in the world to do this.
I've had a lot of people, they want their EMS. When they call, they want, Bob, you made a comment? And so that's, I think, our biggest problem in the city right now is EMS coverage.
There's no doubt in my mind, but there's got to be a different avenue. There's somehow we've got to be able to fix this.
True.
I would
And-
say, sorry,
Go ahead.
I would say I'm not opposed to it. I would prefer to hear the plan, though.
Yes.
How are the dollars going to be spent? Prior to just saying, yes, let's increase it 5 mils.
Yes.
Go through that 5 mil
Well, there is a
increase.
third option too. You could go ahead with the renewal, try and, that's what's been coming in, and try and go ahead and do that. And then if there's a plan in place and you see there's a need for more money, I mean, there's downsides to everything. You go back at like the general election, say, hey, we need another 3 mills.
Let me ask you this.
So you're asking twice potentially in the same year.
A renewal.
As opposed to
Increase.
going out and asking for something right up front and maybe people saying, well, what's your plan? You're saying, well, we just know we need it.
Well, if we do a renewal, say we do a renewal tonight, can we still go with our additional 3% at a later time?
That's what-
As long as we get it there before February, is that what you're saying?
Well, for sure. I mean, until
This
we
one's
ask.
February. This-
Basically, we have
This whole
we would have
thing.
to have an emergency
Oh,
meeting.
We
that's
could
for
do the
that's for the
additional
primary. That's for the primary.
Yeah, if you want it to be, what she's saying is if you want it to be on the primary in May, first week of May, all this stuff has to be done by February.
Right.
If you want it to be in November, you know, you could do the renewal now in the primary and then say, oh, we need more, and you can run that
I would be in favor of doing that
in the
tonight,
general election.
with a renewal on what we've already got, but.
The other issue is, this just asks them to generate, this doesn't put it on the ballot, so God forbid somebody changes their mind or something like that, and we pass this tonight, we send it off and they're doing their work, and somebody says, oh, we really need to do that other one, we have an emergency meeting, do the 5, send it off, and, I mean, we're not gonna make anybody very happy at the auditor's office, but I'm just saying.
We've probably made them mad before.
Probably, so.
I agree.
Just so we have all the information.
Yeah, I agree with Ron.
I do too.
I would,
Wow.
I would like to.
Makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Now you know why it's Larry's last meeting. He finally lost it.
That's a Christmas miracle.
He finally lost it.
I hear the bell, there was a bell.
Okay, we had the first reading.
I would say, so just to clarify, I'm not opposed to asking for the levy increase. However, I would like to hear what, you know, we've got ballpark numbers, but like, what would you do with those extra dollars? Because we're going from 90,000 to 250,000,
275.
275. That's a big increase. So
Could you do that, Cheryl? Could you give us the numbers that you're thinking that, how it's going to play out? And then also give us an idea of
Scott.
Now, keep in mind, not only do we have to pay EMTs, we're hitting 15 years on our primary engine, which we usually replace at 20 years, so.
you already have an escrow account for a truck, don't you?
No,
Not much.
Contingency?
not much, because we've been using it to pay EMS.
If it wouldn't have been for the CARES money this year, that got us through it. We used a lot of that money to pay the EMTs. It won't be here next year.
Right. But you were saying, do you want to try to have a meeting to still be able to add that extra millage before the primary, or wait until November and add that extra, if that's the way we're going to roll with it?
I think we would, I don't like having the same issue on the ballots twice in a year. I think you're really, you're gonna really hurt your chances of passing if we decide that we need it. So if we could have an emergency meeting beginning of January, some first week or two, we should be able to get it in time to be able to still get it on the primary. But obviously that puts some crunch on what are you gonna do with the extra money? But I think that if we're asking for the extra money, I think we need to see the plan on how the dollars are gonna be
Well,
spent.
because you're gonna have to campaign it too, and you
Exactly.
need to know, because that's gonna be the first question people are gonna ask.
I think we're rushing it. I mean, I think,
All your eggs in one basket, too,
yeah,
there.
we're rushing it too much.
I agree. I just saw it on our agenda, and knowing some of the situations had with staffing and everything, that's when I called the mayor and Cheryl and you know, Scott and Troy and says, is there something we can do about this now if we're gonna pass this levy, you know?
Well, and the reason it's on the agenda is because the 5 years is up and it's gonna expire, so we gotta either let it expire or decide to renew it.
I'm all for a renewal, but not going all the way.
Are you guys opposed to having an emergency meeting, full council, and seeing what's proposed, and then making the decision at that point in 2 or 3 weeks?
Not opposed to that, but I'm for the vote on this tonight for the renewal.
We can withdraw, right? Once we vote on it? Once it goes, we can change our mind, or how's that?
All that does is say that we think it's necessary and ask them to certify it's
Okay.
not going on the ballot because we passed this tonight. That's a separate,
Okay,
that's part of the timeline that we gotta get
okay.
in.
So, At least that way, if there is a discrepancy at an emergency meeting and we don't agree,
We've already gone down the path.
yeah,
on this.
we're still set. We're still set. And that's the way I'd like to see it go.
Okay. Okay.
Make a
Any
motion
other
to suspend.
discussion?
I'll second.
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Roll call.
Barth,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Clipper,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Ridgway.
Yes.
Resolution 2021-26, second and third readings by caption only. A resolution declaring the necessity for the renewal of a tax levy for fire protection in the village of Hicksville in excess of the 10 mil limitation and requesting the county auditor to certify to the council the total current tax valuation of the village and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Clipper,
Yes.
Barth.
Yes.
And then next is Resolution 2021-27, a resolution establishing the pay rate for the village administrator and declaring an emergency. And this, I wasn't at the last meeting, I couldn't be here, but I understand the mayor brought this up when he took Corey off probation and wanted that increase. And because we have a pay scale that's set or whatever, in order to do it, this is the vehicle we would have to do it.
Okay.
Are we jumping the gun with this pay jump? I mean, is this normal? A normal
His-
size increase?
We started him really low. So I made a recommendation, just kind of get him up a little ways. He's still,
Well,
he's not the highest paid.
well, no, but he's only been here 6 months, too.
Yeah.
When the last
Vote on it.
administrator left, after 20 years, he was only making 64. And we're just, once again, we're throwing money. I hate to throw money.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Roll call.
Barth,
Yes.
Clipper,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Beverly.
I can't.
To suspend the rules?
He doesn't have to if he doesn't want to.
What makes the difference?
Who did I forget? Ridgway. Okay.
Second and third readings of Resolution 2021-27 by caption only, a resolution establishing the pay rate for the village administrator and declaring an emergency.
It's a move.
Second that.
Roll call.
Barth,
Yes.
Bassett,
Yes.
Ridgway,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Clipper,
Yes.
Beverly.
Is that all you have, Troy? Any questions for our solicitor?
Thank you, Troy.
Okay, next on the agenda, Department Head's Police Chief. He called, he was going to be here. I think he had a case and call reports in the packet.
There's a lot on there.
Yeah, a lot in there. Any, oh, okay. So, pretty well self-explanatory, but he's not going to be here tonight. Fire, go ahead, Scott.
Like I said, our numbers are down. We're looking for volunteers. If you want to be a volunteer fireman, only a 36-hour class to get started. There'll be some stipulations after that, like a live burn class and stuff like that. But should cut the hours down quite a bit for training. Your old buddy's gone. The squad moved out Friday.
Oh, yes.
Decent chunk of money on it.
You said it was 13,000?
13,105.
Isn't that a lot better than having it sitting in the parking lot?
Well, he's only gonna give us 25 to trade it in. 2,500.
I didn't tell you to trade it in, I told you to sell it.
Does that money go back into the fire?
Yes.
And Corey asked, I told Corey what it would bring too, and that's what it brought.
Yeah, he bought it.
Yeah. Just a minute, you ain't gonna make a liar out of me.
Ron paid $5,000 too much, but he bought it for what he quoted.
Just for principle.
Has any consideration, so in regards to the fire department volunteers, has any consideration been given to increasing the radius?
We did talk
We
about that.
did talk about that.
I know we've got Mr. Hart still traveling from, where's he at now?
Mark Center.
So we've got one guy traveling out of there. Just in talking with a few folks, I had heard, not directly, but that there's several folks that might be interested if we extended it even just a couple miles.
It's looked at on a case-by-case basis. The one from Mark Center, he goes direct to the scene, so that's why we allowed him. But I wouldn't want somebody from Mark Center to have to run clear here.
Yeah, I'm not saying the radius should go to Mark Center, but I just heard that there's a couple folks that would, that
Yeah.
are, a mile or two outside of the
Right.
radius, so I didn't know if that had been given any
I
consideration.
thought we did that.
My son was a tenth of a mile up past the 3 mile
We did.
limit in Elwood.
I mean, you can go farther than that? I mean,
Yeah, it's into our district. But it's also up to my discretion as to where they're at. And
Yeah, but I thought we increased that radius.
Yeah. Can anybody from Indiana be on it?
unfortunately, I don't believe so.
Unless they, okay. Because EMS, they have to have an Ohio license.
You have to have an Ohio license to hold an Ohio card, I think.
Okay, is that all you have?
Yep.
Any questions for the fire chief? Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott. Park director's not here. Park's pretty well closed down. Cheryl, your report?
Beyond the fund status and the revolving loan report, keeps trying to give away money. Here is your final coronavirus report. And for the breakdown of the different departments, and we had money that we could use for first responders just because they're first responder. And that was $110,000. And then the different departments had people quarantined, and that's how much money we spent that would have been out of their payrolls. But instead, coronavirus money paid for that. Everything's done except if you see the last 5, they all have a purchase order because we don't have them yet. And it has been moved, so I can wait until January, I think, 5th or 12th, one of those dates. They've moved the date a little to get the invoices paid. I don't want to pay an invoice when we haven't gotten the stuff yet.
So we're sending back 16,000?
No. Corey is going to make them bring it and give me an invoice so that I can pay for it.
Perfect.
Good job.
Okay.
And I put this in, it came over from the chamber, I think it's what Hicksville gets from the United Way, different organizations. And I also have the information, I'm not sure if I sent it, about the sunshine law training that's mandatory for councilmen, new councilmen, old councilmen, once every election term, yes. And then I have your new list of committees.
I'm too old.
Still have to.
Okay, any questions for,
Well, if you have any questions about this, you can talk to the mayor.
Do you have the current list of current members that need to do the sunshine law stuff?
Everybody but you.
Okay.
You're the only one who did it.
He's throwing it in everybody's face.
I couldn't remember if it was that or the ethics thing. I remember I did the class.
okay, I guess, we'll do mayor's report, then go to executive.
Yep.
Okay, any questions for Cheryl? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Okay, my report, you got the committee list, so we've got 6 chairmen, so everybody's got one, and there's you're on 2 committees, like 3?
3 committees, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, chairman.
Chair of one plus 2
Yeah,
others.
right, okay, so, didn't change too much. The big one was the water and sewer, Taylor's taking over that. And police and fire, Mike Barr's gonna take that chair, everything else is, Charlie Martin's personnel chairman, so. Anyway, any comments? Maybe I shouldn't ask for comments, but anyway, that's, I try to get people that work well together, how I put them together.
That's one.
The only thing I have is I hope everybody in the village has a blessed Merry Christmas and a prosperous and healthy New Year. And Larry, this is your last meeting,
Yes, it is.
but in 2 years, if you change your mind, there'll be 2 seats open and 4 years.
Well, I don't want to
there'll be-
take anybody out of a job.
Well,
I'm not
just,
that type of person.
but I appreciate the last 4 years,
Well,
it's
thank you.
flew. But I give you a standing ovation if anybody will stand with me.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate your service to the community and
And I want to thank everybody for helping me, and it's been an honor and pleasure being on council. It's been definitely a learning experience.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely an experience. And I wish Tony luck coming in to fill my seat.
Okay.
But it's been definitely a learning experience. I like it. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, you want to,
If you don't have anything else, or anyone.
No, I
from
don't.
the public.
anything needs to be brought before this council, but we're not ready to adjourn yet.
Ask for executive session for land acquisition.
Okay.
Second, somebody second it?
I'll second.
You had a second? Okay, roll call.
Barth?
Yes.
Bassett?
Yes.
Beverly? Pepper?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Ridgway?
Yes.
I'm going to ask Erica to stay in this meeting.
Taylor, I